An era here in the East End. Billy Bonds, as you say, has resigned as manager of West Ham, ending nearly 3 decades with the club. But today's story, papers tell the story. The Newham Recorder from this morning speculating that Bonds was going to quit, and tonight's London Standard confirming the shock news. Well, in a moment we'll talk to 1 or 2 Hammers fans, but first let's take a look back at the day's events and, of course, at Billy Bonds' long and illustrious career at Upton Park. Bonzo of the Hammers, 27 years at one club. He signed in 1967 for £48,000. He was always in the thick of the action, an aggressive and swashbuckling defender. He went on to make a record 663 league appearances. He was at the forefront of West Ham's success in the 70s and 80s, leading the Hammers to 2 FA Cup victories. A new chapter in his career began in 1990, when he took over as manager from Lou Macari. Bonds was only the 7th man to hold the position since the club was founded almost 100 years ago. Over the next 3 seasons, the club was promoted, relegated and promoted again. He's one of West Ham's all-time greats. Gabriel Clark now takes up the story of today's events.
Billy Bonds has been the heartbeat at West Ham United for nearly 3 decades. This morning he decided he'd had enough. The official statement said his assistant Harry Redknapp was taking over because Bonzo was quitting, no matter how hard they begged him to stay, and just 48 hours after everything had seemed fine.
I'm sure if we all pulled together like we did last year, we keep the same spirit, then, you know, I'm sure we'll be okay.
You know, he's very black and white, Bill, and he's very straight and honest, and he said, he's always said to me from the first day I arrived, he said, listen, you know, I know you've come here to work with me, he said, but I could walk out of here any day. He says, so don't be surprised if I do, and that's really how he's been. It's totally, he said, the day I'm fed up with it, I'll jack it in.
It's going to be a real loss. I mean, the players are just gutted. We all had a hell of a lot of respect for him, not just as a manager, but as a person as well. He did the job so honestly, and I don't think anybody could have done it along the same lines, and I think the players respected his honesty, you know.
That hard-working integrity guaranteed Bonds a legendary status, bettered only perhaps by Bobby Moore. But the strong family man in him hasn't always found management as easy. Things improved when his best friend Redknapp arrived as assistant, but this summer has brought with it the embarrassing Joey Beecham saga that today escalated into alleged death threats against the player who doesn't want to play for West Ham. But the suggestion that Bonds, who'd been offered a directorship, was being pushed upstairs by the board was ruled out immediately.
No, that's not the case, and you know, I'm sure Billy and Harry will tell you that.
We worked really as a team, to be fair. It wasn't you know, a manager and an assistant couldn't have worked closer than we worked, so, and it was a perfect situation for me. But now he's left, and you know, the club wanted to appoint a new manager. They've offered me the job, and obviously I'm very proud to take the job, and I couldn't think anybody could do a better job than I could.
Harry Redknapp becomes only the 8th West Ham United manager, but at the moment even he is finding it difficult to comprehend some of today's events and to overcome the genuine sadness at the way in which one of London's longest sporting ties has finally been broken. This is Gabriel Clark at Upton Park for London Tonight.
Park today, Tony Cottee scored for West Ham. But before Cottee's winner, Aston Villa should have been in front. Daly and Atkinson's powerful run. And here's the moment where if your name's John Fashanu, you may want to look away. Villa manager Ron Atkinson said afterwards he could have got down and headed it in. With time running out, enter Tony Cottee to score his first goal for West Ham since his move from Everton. And that was good enough for West Ham's first win of the season.
For all the clubs that are down there, Everton stay at the foot of the table despite today's 2-2 draw with Queen's Park Rangers. Leicester, Coventry and West Ham all climbed up slightly, but Palace dropped down to second bottom.
When Martin O'Connor flicked on for Stuart Watkins, it all pointed to another shock, especially with Walsall's players out to impress new manager Chris Nicholl. Maybe the Cameroonian Charles Nuttemark tried just too hard to win friends and influence people. But West Ham were only too grateful for their first away goal of the season. They never threatened to build on it though, and it was a sign of the problems Walsall were posing that even Steve Potts was panicked into a second and decided.
Well, QPR
whose 2-1 first leg defeat at Walsall gave Chris Nicholl a terrific start to his term as manager of the 3rd Division club. Nicholl, who scored a dramatic winner as Aston Villa lifted the League Cup in 1977. Commentary at the Boleyn Ground from Brian Moore.
Well, it's certainly a competition Chris Nicholl enjoys, as well as his cup final exploits. In his time at Southampton, he took the Saints to a semi-final and 3 quarter-finals in this competition, and on being appointed at Walsall on the morning of the first leg of this tie, saw his side promptly get a 2-1 victory over West Ham. It's a West Ham side that knows it's going to be tough. Tonight they're without Alvin Martin at the centre of the defence. Adrian Whitbread, formerly at Swindon, gets his first start. Matthew Rush has gone down with a virus tonight. Ian Bishop replaces him, and Tony Cottee is still suspended. Walsall, meanwhile, without the experienced Colin Gibson, who's injured, and Scott Houghton, who's cup-tied. Charlie Palmer returns to their defence, and David Mayhew to the midfield. Former Palace man Martin O'Connor is their skipper, and Kevin Wilson, over 150 league games for Chelsea, is a striker alongside the dangerous Kyle Lightbourne. Our referee tonight, John Holbrook from Ludlow. And where is there no building work going on these days around our football grounds? Here the old North Bank has gone, and a fine new stand rapidly is taking shape. They say it's going to be ready by Christmas. And a change of sports for the man with a moustache. Dedicated Hammers fan Graham Gooch. Good to see him here tonight. So it's Walsall in the red, white and black strip, who kick off attacking the goal to our left. And what a good spell they're having since the arrival of Chris Nicholl. And West Ham know it's going to be tough tonight. Harry Redknapp, their manager, saying that Walsall played really well in that first leg. And of course you only have to look back over your shoulders 24 hours to see what Mansfield did at Leeds and what a narrow squeak Crystal Palace had against Lincoln. Here's Bishop in for Rush. Rowland up towards Lee Chapman. Wilson with a little touch there for the number 7 O'Connor. Marsh. Darren Rogers playing it down. Wilson. Quality player, Northern Ireland international, some 40 caps he's had. O'Connor looked as though he was going to shape up for a shot there, and West Ham needed to do a little bit of defending here, and Breaker then playing it long towards Hutchinson, who's caught offside. Redknapp, front of the picture there. Again up to Lightbourne, who's got terrific pace about him. His pass cut out there by Bishop. West Ham, as we well know, a wavery start to the season, but victories against Aston Villa, and then a fine victory at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea on Sunday. Bishop with the free kick. Rowland had made a run down the left for him, but it's instead with Moncur. A little chip in by him, took a deflection. Lee Chapman trying to get on the end of this one, and across the face of that Walsall goal, so near to the opening goal that West Ham needed. Chapman doing very well there. The angle in the end was really too sharp for him. A strong challenge from Palmer. Narrowly missing the far post. O'Connor. Whitbread with a header. Powerful one. Marsh. Breaker ever looking for that chance to get down that right touchline. Allen. Cross comes in. Chapman couldn't quite get the right angle on it, and it's a goal kick. Foul by O'Connor. Here's Mike Marsh for West Ham. Down the line, getting Breaker into the action again. Whips his cross in, Palmer's there, putting it away behind for the corner. Moncur will take it. Marsh at the near post. Chapman also looking for that little flick on from the near post. Like that. Everybody waiting for somebody else. It was Hutchison who got there in the end. Rowland, who's got a terrific left foot on him. But also Watkis with a good clearance. Got up well for that one. Moncur just knocking it in again, and Martin Allen just over the top. One of West Ham's better moves, that one. Walsall have looked fairly confident and comfortable in defence for most of this first half. Moncur turning well here. Little cross in, and Martin Allen always likes to get into the box. That time the header was just too high. But the opportunities have been few and far between for West Ham so far. An outbreaker. Up goes Chapman, doing everything right, West Ham, until they get to the box, and they just can't find the pass or the bit of skill. It's going to find a goal for them. Whitbread getting back very quickly under a lot of pressure from Lightbourne. In the last minute of the first half. Wilson. Rowland to the unfavoured right foot that time. O'Connor to Mayhew. Wilson again. Oh, Lightbourne! Delayed his shot once, and right across the face of that goal. And that's the closest Walsall have been to a goal, and right on the stroke of half-time. They could have made life even more difficult for West Ham. Good work there by Kyle Lightbourne. A little dummy, and he held it up well. Wilson inevitably had a part to play in it. Lightbourne then slipping it across the face of the goal. There were two players there, but neither from Walsall could put it in. Up goes Bishop. Marsh. And he and Moncur getting in each other's way. Worth chasing the keeper. And Marsh at least forces him to put it into touch. And really it's all about tempo now as far as West Ham. They've got to keep a high tempo game, try and panic and error out of Walsall, but also remain really secure at the back. And I think it's Kevin Wilson who's down, and the Walsall players a little agitated. And I think John Moncur, is it John Moncur who's got a problem? As he goes in there on Wilson, catches him late. That's going to be a yellow card for the West Ham number 10. Free kick then to Walsall. Rogers with it. Whitbread getting behind this one. Oh, ducks underneath it. And Lightbourne has a brilliant opportunity there for making the cup tie almost safe for Walsall. A mistake by Whitbread, allowed it to go. Lightbourne snatched at his shots, and West Ham are saved. In goes Rowland, here's Bishop. West Ham, that's a good ball by Bishop. Allen chasing this one. Palmer started to come and then held off. There's his cross. Moncur playing it on! And West Ham, through Don Hutchison, have got level on aggregate. They've had a lot of pressure, but not really a cutting edge. And you always felt that Martin Allen would be at the root of it somewhere. Touched on there and finally knocked into the nets by Don Hutchison. His contribution has been quite marked. A little flick on there by Moncur and finished off by Hutchison, and West Ham start to breathe again. Hutchison, the little ball. Rowland trying to keep it going. Chapman getting involved as well. It'll come for Bishop with it. No. Lightbourne. O'Connor's down injured at the moment, but it's West Ham on the attack with John Moncur. There's his cross. Hutchison, well, he didn't really get a firm touch on that one. Skated across that 6-yard area. Chapman couldn't quite get in on it on the far post. But they're beginning to make the odd half chance now, and this was perhaps a bit more than that. Good play by John Moncur. Turned his man beautifully, gets his cross in, but Hutchison didn't really get a firm touch on it with his head. Hutchison. And too high that time by Bishop. But they're really beginning to turn the screw now, West Ham. The last quarter of an hour or so, they've really started to carry this fight to Walsall. They've got the goal that mattered. They're looking now for a second one that would settle it without extra time. Bishop wide of the mark that time. Here's Breaker. Allen. Moncur. Oh, that's a lovely bit of play by Moncur. Terrific shot by him. And it went straight at the keeper. Super bit of skill, though, by Moncur. Killed that ball superbly. Took it nicely into his path, onto the left foot. Hit a powerful shot straight at Trevor Wood. Wilson. Still everything hanging on this cup tie. The break is on again. O'Connor playing it in. Wilson couldn't quite get onto it. Mayhew! That was a great chance for Walsall. So within 30 seconds we could have had a goal at both ends. Good play here by Martin O'Connor. Plays it in. Wilson couldn't quite get to it. Mayhew hitting it over the crossbar. West Ham's goal kick. Touched on by Hutchison. Palmer gets it back to his keeper. Rowland. Bishop. Rowland chasing. Chapman waiting in the middle there. It's a West Ham throw. A good shot, punched away. Chapman gets it in, knocked in though, and an offside flag. An offside flag, and the linesman and the referee right bang on the spot. And my feeling is there might even have been two players offside. Terrific shot here by Breaker. Knocked away. You see, Martin Allen plays it in, but he's clearly in an offside position. Steve Potts puts it away to touch. Wilson again. Got to hold him up. Crossed in. Knocked away. Mayhew gets it across. My goodness, that was so close to what would have been a clinching goal for Walsall. Mayhew heading it across the face of the goal, and Breaker, I think in the end it was, who put it behind for the corner. They were in desperate trouble there, West Ham. There's Mayhew's header, and Breaker just getting in. Good jump by Whitbread. O'Connor. Rogers. Wilson's chasing again. But Potts did really well for West Ham when he was needed. So the whistle goes for the end of 90 minutes. We have extra time with the aggregate score at 2-2 after Don Hutchison's goal in the second half here has given West Ham a 1-0 victory tonight. 2-2 on aggregate. Here's extra time. Breaker. Hutchison. Driving forward again, finding Rowland, still carrying on with his run, but Rowland won't quite reach him with that chip. There's a little touch there by Moncur, and a shot against the post, and Moncur has scored a second one, and West Ham go into the lead in this tie now, 3-2 on aggregate. Turned beautifully. Hutchison rattling the post. Moncur following it up. Beyond the dive of Wood. Well, he scored an important goal against Chelsea at the weekend. It's a really vital one here tonight. Chris Nicholl knows that one goal, at least at this stage, would still give them the chance of a penalty shootout. Up goes Whitbread. Here's Marsh. I knew it was going to be tough, and it has been. Moncur's done well for West Ham, though. Crowd appreciated that. Breaker into Allen. Hutchison outside him. There he is. Finds Bishop. In turn finds Moncur. A little chip by him. Marsh is on the end of it. And there's another one. No, did he? No, miraculously that must have stayed out. Oh, that was incredible. It looked a certainty that Mike Marsh's shot had gone over the line. But the linesman was right on the spot. The referee looked to him. No goal. Well, West Ham still this one goal ahead, but they thought they'd got another one. When Marsh did so well, he lifted it over Wood's head. Went against the post and actually never crossed the line. Rowland. Bishop, Allen, is it out again to Keith Rowland, down the line to Moncur, Marsh, Hutchison, Hutchison's crossed. Lee Chapman will get on the end of this one possibly. Oh, a great save by Wood from Moncur. Some unselfish play there by Chapman as well. He set Moncur up brilliantly for that one. Excellent goalkeeping by Trevor Wood. Inside the last 2 minutes. Another good piece of play by the keeper there. Keeping Don Hutchison out, who caught that as it came over his shoulder on the volley. From Breaker's cross. There's Hutchison. An excellent piece of goalkeeping. Good pictures. The last seconds of extra time now. Oh, a lovely back heel by Hutchison. Martin Allen with Lee Chapman waiting in the middle. Goal kick. Chapman looking daggers. He made a terrific run. So too had Mike Marsh as it happened. But over the top it went. Goal kick for Walsall. We're playing time added on now at the end of this period of extra time. And West Ham just need to remain secure for a few more seconds to go into the draw for the next round of the Coca-Cola Cup. Potts. Rowland. Rowland. Wilson. It's not all up yet, he says, but now Potts takes that expertly off his foot. Referee looks at the watch. A lot of credit to Walsall. They've played really well here with a lot of defiance tonight. But the winners are West Ham. 2-0 on the night. Don Hutchison and John Moncur, their scorers. It means they win 3-2 in this Coca-Cola Cup tie on aggregate and go into the draw for the next round. The winners tonight are West Ham.
You admitted before the game that you were edgy. Is that a reflection of how important the Coca-Cola Cup is to the Hammers?
No, every game's important. You know, it's league games are very, very important. Coca-Cola Cup, FA Cup, all important. We want to stay in every competition. We want to win every game if we possibly can. So, yeah, they're not easy games. I think as a manager, these are the games. If you ask any manager, these are the games that you dread the most. You know, a Premier League side playing a lower division side. As I said before, I've been through it many times when I was at Bournemouth. You know, Man United, teams like Everton coming down to play us. You know, they're never easy. Look at last night, look what happened to Leeds. We all dread that. You know, it's the worst possible games, these games are without a doubt. You know, you've got everything to lose and nothing to win. But I thought we did very well tonight. I was delighted with the performance.
The fighting was the worst in the country when they went to Stamford Bridge, but 2 second-half goals changed that. The first by Martin Allen. That was their first away from home. Chelsea levelled through Paul Furlong after Luna McCloskey lost the ball under challenge from Shipperley. Furlong thereby took his tally for the season to 5. But John Moncur had the last word, scoring against the club who tried to sign him in the summer, the winner in the 67th minute. The 7 bookings in the match by World Cup referee Philip Don brought much debate. But on viewing again, the tackle by Steve Clarke on Martin Allen 3 minutes from time surely left the referee with no option. Reckless, dangerous, a sending off offence.
Up at Upton Park, the Hammers had the best of the first half. Palace were doing well in the second when Don Hutchinson zipped in at the far post to head a winning goal. His 3rd strike since moving from Liverpool for £1.5 million and 3 wins in a week for West Ham. Martin Allen and West Ham went ahead. The celebration more kamikaze than Klinsmann. West Ham fans can't have been surprised when their returning hero got a yellow card for a stinging challenge. In a way, it confirmed Julian Dick's return. West Ham rode their luck a little, but 12 minutes after their first goal, a Chapman-Cottee link-up put Rush in position to score himself. 4 wins in 5 matches for the Hammers. Welcome home, Julian.
I was pleased with my game, my first game this season in the Premier League. I mean, I was a bit tired towards the end, but I mean, it'll all come match fitness. We've got quite a few games in a few days, so hopefully it will come back.
Yes, a full house here tonight to greet the arrival of the 2 teams, and a full-blooded Coca-Cola Cup tie in prospect as well. Let's just check on the sides then, starting with West Ham, and they, indeed, as Bob says, are one of the form teams of the moment. 4 wins in their last 5 games. And they field the side that beat Southampton on Saturday, with the exception that Don Hutchison now returns to their attack. He's recovered from a groin strain and plays alongside Tony Cottee, with Lee Chapman dropping to the subs bench. And the second game after the homecoming of Julian Dicks at left back. Chelsea, meanwhile, have got an injury list that's longer than most. Their latest casualty is Paul Furlong. He was injured against Ipswich on Sunday. Gavin Peacock and Neil Shipperley are Chelsea's front men here tonight. Jakob Kielberg has received a knock also in that match at the weekend, but he's shaken it off. And the other good news for Chelsea fans is that manager Glenn Hoddle is now just about a week away from fitness once more. Our referee tonight is Keith Cooper from Mid-Glamorgan. We talk about West Ham being the form team, but Chelsea in the all-blue strip. They got back on the road again on Sunday with a victory against Ipswich. In fact, they've won 8 of the 15 matches they've played so far this season, 2 others drawn. A good start, and then a lull, and now they're looking to pick it up again. Wise towards Shipperley, and it'll be Rush who'll get this one away for West Ham. Hits it long towards Cottee. Johnson up there for him. Pace will be frantic, you can be sure of that in these early stages in particular. And a lot of feeling always when East London comes up against West London. Little flick there by Hutchison. Again, Johnson's there. Gavin Peacock. The throw then to Chelsea. Tony Barnes with it, former Charlton player. Smackman just lifting it forward. Latest update on this new stand at West Ham, still due to be finished and ready for occupation on Boxing Day. Its name, they haven't got a name yet. In fact, West Ham are looking for a sponsor to put a name to that wonderful new stand. Free kick to West Ham. Foul on Tim Breaker. Gavin Peacock. Allen hits it forward. Rush, who's strong, gets in behind them. And his cross just a little too powerful. And Chelsea have no trouble getting that one away. Julian Dix with the throw. And a goal! It's Don Hutchison who's put West Ham ahead with a great strike beyond the dive of Karin. The most perfect start for the home side. Just back in the side after recovering from a groin injury and doing really well with that shot. From Julian Dix's long throw. A little touch. In steps Hutchison and West Ham are ahead. Johnson. Wise. Challenged there by Allen. It'll be a gritty affair in that midfield. Martin Allen and Dennis Wise, you can be sure of it. And if you mix in Julian Dix as well, you can be sure there's going to be a pretty fine competitive edge to this game. West Ham fans delighted to see him back after his not very happy time at Liverpool. Shipley wins it in the air. Peacock takes it on. Strong challenge there from Alvin Martin. And it's caught Peacock. It was a real tough challenge. Oh my goodness, that really turned Peacock's ankle. And that, I would have thought, is a pretty serious injury. Well, a clash between two good, honest players. And sadly, Gavin Peacock is the one who finished second best. It's more than ever important for Chelsea now that Glenn Hoddle gets back to full fitness and back into the action again. Marsh playing it in. Hutchison's in again. But some good challenging there by Gareth Hall. Great ball in by Mike Marsh as well. Here it is. And what an excellent piece of defending by Gareth Hall. But it provides West Ham with a corner. Alvin Martin's in there. Martin Allen's in there. Julian Dix is up from the back. Hutchison, who's 6'2", might well have something to say here as well. But it's Julian Dix with a header. But straight through to the keeper. Harry Redknapp delighted with West Ham's good run, which in fact started with a victory at Chelsea earlier this month. A 2-1 win at Stamford Bridge. Dix. And now Bishop. He's beaten the offside trap this time as Hutchison plays it in. Went a long way across that Chelsea penalty area until Barnes got it away and found Rocastle. In turn, it's with Wise. Neil Shipley. That's a good shot. Thumped with some power by Neil Shipley. Still only 19 years old. Bishop. Rush. Breaker. Potter's in there. Hutchison on the far side, coming in on this one, gets the header in. Martin Allen also! But from West Ham's point of view, just the wrong side of the post. But again, a good move. And Don Hutchison playing a big part. He's 6'2", he gets up so well here. And Martin Allen trying to guide the ball into that corner. The half-time whistle. And Don Hutchison's goal after 2 minutes gives West Ham that lead at half-time. West Ham 1, Chelsea 0. And the workers who are working so hard on that new West Ham stand, Builders Perks, they're getting a good view of the game, and now they're off for a cup of tea. Well, there's been one substitution at half-time. Keith Cooper, the referee from Mid Glamorgan, has got trouble with the left Achilles. And the substitute referee, one of the linesmen in the first half, John Norbury of Essex, now takes over. West Ham then leading by 1 goal to 0 in this Coca-Cola Cup tie. And they'll get the second half underway. Bishop. Rocastle. Martin ducking underneath this one for McCloskey to come up and gather. Johnson's header. Rush can pick it up. He should have been able to. Breaker. Allen. Hopkins after him. And gets him. And gets the ball. Chelsea coming away now with Shipley on the far side. Newton's gone through the middle and the ball went straight to Alvin Martin. And here's Bishop for West Ham. And out by Johnson. Dennis Wise. Spackman. Johnson. Wise finding Hall. Back to Kielberg. Spackman. West Ham can't get a touch at it at the moment. Shipley going on and might still go on further. In the end, the angle was, as they say, impossible. But at least Chelsea get a corner. Just nicking off Steve Potts probably. As you could see. So Chelsea's corner. Played to Gareth Hall and then swung in by him towards Johnson. Pushed away well by McCloskey. Another corner for Chelsea. Good header that time by Johnson. And a good knock away by McCloskey. Here comes another corner then for Chelsea. Kielberg went for that one. They've got another corner. Kielberg surprised by that. The West Ham players unhappy with that decision. But Wise goes now across to the other side to take yet another corner for Chelsea. He's played it to Barnes. A long way through, and McCloskey didn't let his eyes stray from that ball for a moment. Into the path of Rocastle. Shipley wanting it as well and gets it. This looks a more promising break. Kielberg's made a terrific break through the middle there. And a great save by McCloskey from Dennis Wise's flying header. He's brought off 2 tremendous saves in this second half. This was a great Chelsea move, the best of the game by then. Shipley's cross met by the flying Dennis Wise. And you could see there was no margin for error with an excellent save by McCloskey. Here comes the corner. Wise will take it. It's a lot more about Chelsea in this second half. And as I say, you do get the feeling West Ham are going to need a second goal to get themselves into that draw tomorrow morning. Dix hitting it long. Rush chasing. Barnes had come across to mark him well. Hall also. Not forward again. Wise. Resting again, this time towards Neil Shipley. Bishop gets it away. Gentle little pass, but a good one to Marsh. Marsh in turn to Allen. Persuading Breaker to make the run down the right. Rush is outside him. Breaker gets a second chance. Bishop. Back to Allen. Breaker and offside. West Ham fans up behind the lines will disagree. Chelsea just want to get on with it now. Wise to Hopkin. Barnes. towards Hutchison. Just kept in play by Rush. Calls for a good cross now. Didn't quite get it though. The tempo's increased, the temperature's gone up, and we've got a much better game on our hands now as Hopkin looks for Shipley. Wise again has made a good break. Here's Shipley once more, driving it hard against McCloskey. Well, without doubt, it's Chelsea's best spell of the game. And West Ham have really looked to McCloskey to pull them out of trouble 2 or 3 times in this second half now. Here's Hall, just dinking it in there. Oh, West Ham struggling to get that one away until the trusty boot of Alvin Martin did so, and it's released Tony Cottee. Newcastle's after him. Cottee still chasing away. Down he goes. Cottee claiming a foul. Newton. Hopkin. Oh, another good save. Looked for a moment to be heading into that far corner. It had a lovely swerve on it. Time is now beginning to run out for Glenn Hoddle's men. Alvin Martin to Marsh. The thing is not to lose the ball here, and that's exactly what Marsh has done. Now can Chelsea punish them for that? Lee. Dix. And a good save again right at the last from McCloskey, but there goes the final whistle. Dennis Wise just couldn't inspire Chelsea to a victory, and so it's Don Hutchison's goal, scored in the 2nd minute of the game, that puts West Ham into the next round of the Coca-Cola Cup. West Ham 1, Chelsea 0.
Chances were missed before they equalised just on half-time. Tottenham's defensive frailties haven't gone away. Mike Marsh twisted and turned. Matthew Rush had plenty of time at the far post. 1-1 at half-time.
At the start of play today, West Ham were 8th from bottom, but had managed only 8 goals from 13 games. Their visitors, Leicester City, were 2nd from bottom without an away win. Fireworks or damp squib? Well, this is what happened with Clive Tylsey.
Almost a third of the season played, and still half of the Premier League is within half a dozen points of the relegation zone. These were 2 of the bookies' pre-season favourites to go down. West Ham United have their heads above water in 15th place thanks to a good home record and a good defence. Julian Dix and Tony Cottee have recently returned to the club. Returning to the team today, their principal summer signing John Moncur and last year's leading scorer Trevor Morley, out since the opening week of the season. They've missed him. No team in the Premiership has scored fewer goals than West Ham. Conceding goals has been Leicester City's problem. They've done it in every game so far. But their team news is made in attack when their brightest prospect, Julian Joachim, has been left out. At 29, his replacement, David Lowe, is the old man of the side. The average age, just 24. Roger Dilks is the man in charge today. Upton Park is not one of the Premiership grounds that Leicester City have been particularly looking forward to seeing again. They've lost on their last 10 visits. Tony Cottee for West Ham United, trying to make the most of Matthew Rush's pace down the right-hand side. Leicester's away form so far this season, 7 games, 3 goals and just 1 league point. Poor. Julian Dix. John Moncur, Don Hutchison taking over and setting his sights, and it needed a useful save from Gavin Ward. Almost an open invitation for Hutchison to shoot, and he hasn't needed one since arriving here. 4 goals in his 5 home games for West Ham so far. It'll be Moncur's corner. It's Martin at the near post, and it's in the building site. Away by Carr to Dix. Cottee in pursuit with Grayson. Moncur Hutchison arriving, took it away from Morley. Well, that's the sort of run with which Don Hutchison made his name at Liverpool, breaking from deep. But if anything, Trevor Morley was rather better placed. This is John Moncur. Grayson wouldn't commit himself. It's towards Rush. It's won by Lewis and cleared by Blake. Fisher. Hutchison. Nothing wide of him. Whitbread. Don Hutchison. Molly! Well, he claims that he was impeded in some way. But it's a goal kick and a good chance wasted from Don Hutchison's cutback. Trevor Morley was not only the leading scorer for West Ham last season, he was the player of the season here too. Actually, it was a deflection that he was claiming for. He thought it came off the heel of Moen for a corner. Goal kick. Frank Lampard on the right. His son, Frank Jr., is a midfield player on West Ham's books. I bet Harry Redknapp wishes his son was on the West Ham books. Lewis. Hutchison clear. He's trying to pick Moncur out rather than just thump it away. Not only Carr, now Philpott. Hacked down by Hutchison. And the very nature of a sliding challenge which doesn't connect is almost bound to attract a yellow card. Once the tackler is off his own feet, he's really got to get the ball, and Hutchison got none of it at all. We've had almost half an hour. Draper's played Carr in cleverly here. Header away by Whitbread. Shame, plenty of promise. The referee helped up by the linesman on the far side, Phil Wing, giving that decision. That be named. Whitbread. Potts. Martin. Already slipped, and Ewan Roberts might profit here. He's a little short of support. Lowe's trying to get there. Potts has got back. And West Ham United get away with a corner kick. Philpott will take the corner. Towards Moen, headed away by Martin. And the danger passes for West Ham. Dix ran into a bit of a cul-de-sac then. Oh, and Hutchison's going to have to watch his step. He does have a rather unfortunate tackling style, and he's in trouble, he's gone. Second yellow card for Don Hutchison. 33 minutes of the half played, and West Ham are down to 10 men. And Don Hutchison, who got himself into a spot of bother for a challenge on Alan Smith in a match here a month or so ago, went in with both feet, and that's just not acceptable anymore. He was asking for it. But Leicester City do seem to attract red cards. That's the 10th time that one has been waived in a match involving them this season. I think Roger Dilks actually felt the second Hutchison challenge was in itself worthy of a red card. I didn't see a second yellow produced. But Cottee has got away from Mohan momentarily. Ball is up there too. Cottee! Well, once he buys himself some space and time like that, Tony Cottee usually hits the target. He is going through a bit of a lean spell. He marked his homecoming with a late winner against Aston Villa in September, but he hasn't scored in 7 games since then. Bishop. Moncur. Kelty's shirt was held there by Grayson. Free kick has been given. Indirect. Moncur. Ward didn't get to it, and Cotty's in! The referee has disallowed it, pointing to the hand. It's an awkward one for Gavin Ward to deal with, but the arm of the jumping player, Trevor Morley, was up, and that's why Tony Colley was denied. Dix has conceded a free kick. Draper takes. It goes low. Oh, no flag. Roberts and Lowe were in the clear. David Lowe made contact, but not a good enough contact. Wally. Rush. Bishop. Morley. Now Moncur. Penalty. Nicky Mullins' lunge penalised, and West Ham United have a great chance now to take the lead, and who knows, it's been a tight one, maybe win the match. Bowen couldn't resist the temptation to tackle, and Moncur just nicked the ball away from him. He was going nowhere special. But it was a mistimed challenge. Step forward, folk hero Julian Dix. He's done it! Nobody and nothing was going to keep that out. Smashed home by Julian Dix. His first goal since his return to the club. And 4 marks to West Ham United, who have responded more positively to the red card. And the 10-man team takes the lead. Bishop. Rush was in an offside position, but not interfering. Bishop allowed to have a pop. There's no place like home for West Ham United at the moment. That's 5 straight wins at Upton Park. They had to survive the best part of an hour without Don Hutchison today, but a penalty from Julian Dix, a real standard bearer for them on the day, won the game. Another miserable edition of EastEnders for Leicester City, who haven't so much as won a point here for 15 years now. They need everyone they can get if they're to prove the prophets of doom wrong. West Ham may be well on the way to doing that already. They showed some spirit to eke out a 1-0 win.
Considerable second-half improvement to check their sliding fortunes. They found a bit, but too little, too late to avoid a 4th consecutive defeat. Jeroen Bora headed a goal in the last minute or so, but West Ham start the weekend in the relegation places.
West Ham, who trailed 1-0 after 3 minutes, then 2-0 after 25 minutes, when Brian Deane proved just too much of a handful. But the Leeds performance after that both bewildered and annoyed their own supporters. And West Ham were worth their draw, secured when the Dutchman Jeroen Bora headed in 12 minutes from time. But West Ham are still in the relegation bottom 4.
Even goal-scoring mood. Before today's match, they'd managed just 12 in 18 league games, the lowest in the division. Tony Cottee hit the jackpot. 7, 10, 57 were his winning numbers, his first goal coming after 7 minutes. After 10 minutes, Cottee started the move for his second, deep in his own half. Tim Breaker was given the freedom of Upton Park. In oceans of space, wide on the right, City, ravaged by injuries, seemed reluctant to tackle the West Ham defender, and when the ball eventually arrived with Cottee, he was in no mood to miss. On 57 minutes, it was 3-0 to West Ham. Ian Bishop this time setting up Tony Cottee's third. Bishop threading through a delightful ball. It was Cottee's first hat-trick for West Ham for almost 8 years and his first league goal for 3 months.
I've been very frustrated. You know, I've actually been playing okay, but, you know, the goals haven't been going in. You know, you just got to persevere, keep going, and, you know, like I say, it was one of them days today and they all flew in for me.
To be heading that way when Tony Cottee scored after 16 minutes. Confidence high after his last hat-trick. But the spirit, which new boss George Burley would have been happy to see, brought the equaliser in the 70th minute, fittingly from Klaus Thompson. But the favourite from many happy days at Ipswich has a mighty task ahead.
The Christmas period was all parcelled up by half-time. Tony Cottee's never lost faith in his eye for goal during a lean autumn, and when big Jeroen Boer managed to offer him a glimpse of a chance, Cottee struck for the 5th time in 4 games. Alvin Martin Shackling of Stan Collymore won most man-of-the-match nominations. The 36-year-old even popped his head in at the Forest end to set at number 2 for Ian Bishop. Number 3 on the stroke of half-time came courtesy of a Steve Chettle error. Michael Hughes, the Northern Ireland winger currently on loan to West Ham, scored the first goal of his temporary employment. Forest, who'd picked themselves up during a fruitful December, were left playing for pride in the second half. But a proud moment in the final minute for their young substitute, Paul McGregor, although his first senior goal was deflected off Steve Potts. Called it such that they needed all the help they could get at Ewood Park today. A goal in the opening 5 minutes would have been just the job. But a slick exchange between Tony Cottee and Matty Holmes ended with the latter's goal being chalked off by a linesman. It was a call so close you wouldn't have envied the man with the flag, but the photo finish frame suggests that number 20, Henning Berg, was just playing Holmes onside. To compound West Ham's feelings of injustice, they conceded 2 penalties, although the first was down to a rash dash by keeper Ludek McCloskey, which caught Alan Shearer heading nowhere in particular. No question about the contact made in the referee's mind, and no question in Shearer's mind as to how it was all going to end. 1-0 in 14 minutes. But West Ham had drawn level before half-time with a goal out of nothing from Tony Cottee. Comfortably covered when he received from Jeroen Boer, but just when you thought he was losing his way, came a surprise ending. Cottee right back in the old routine just lately. Then early in the second half, Hendry and Flowers on collision course in their attempts to clear a West Ham corner. Then Hendry down on the ground, deflecting past Flowers from Julian Dix's volley. If they could have stayed ahead for more than another 3 minutes, maybe the visitors' fine midfield play would have been better rewarded. But when Sherwood forced himself ahead of Bishop to force a free kick, up stepped Graham Lasso to equalise. Not the dipper over the wall with which he finished off Manchester City on Boxing Day, but a curler round and through the wall, which the bodyguard on the line, Tim Breaker, allowed to slip past his sentry post. With half an hour still to go, Blackburn had time enough to complete their getaway. If the leader's style isn't to everyone's liking, no one could question the style of Wilcox's pass or Shearer's finish to make it 3-2 with 15 minutes to go. His second hat-trick of the season was completed by a contested penalty. Plenty to admire in the approach work again. Not much to admire about Mark Reaper's attempted challenge on Jason Wilcox. Clumsy or callous, little contact or no contact, inside or outside, questions referee Kelvin Morton had to find answers to there and then. West Ham certainly had a hard luck story to talk about in the end. Shearer's 23rd goal of the season saw to it that Blackburn had a 6-point championship lead to talk about.
Up front for Wycombe, the veteran partnership of Cyril Regis and Simon Garner, their top scorers. In opposition at the heart of the Hammers' defence, Alvin Martin, who played in the club's cup-winning side back in 1980. Their top scorer, Tony Cottee, with 8 goals so far. Clive Tilsley commentating here.
Hughes. Ryan got in the challenge, got his foot on the ball, but it's Cottee. And now Breaker. It's come for Bora. And first time from Holmes. And I don't think the goalkeeper Hyde saw very much of that. Matty Holmes had a pot shot. And it came through a few bodies before the diving Paul High could just beat it away, and it was on target. Well won by Martin. Thompson. Bounce clean over Dixon. This is Dave Carroll. Thompson to his right here. Thompson forced a little bit wide. Regis is there. Oh, good header by Tim Breaker. Referee, in fact, has penalised Cyril Regis, and West Ham will have a free kick rather than the corner kick that Wickham felt they should have won. That's the first time they've truly got in behind West Ham. Bell. Regis. Bell is onside, has Carroll in support. Dave Carroll, and again. Well, he rather snatched at the chance. He was the only option for Mickey Bell. Hughes. Ryan got a foot in, so too did Carroll. West Ham still come forward though with Julian Dix. Holmes. Dix. Bishop. Oh, it moved in the air and Hyde lost it altogether. He knows where it is now, behind his goal, but it only just cleared the crossbar from Ian Bishop. Wally into the path of Hughes. Cottee! Yes! Tony Cottee, in hot goal-scoring form, gives West Ham United the lead. 7 goals in his last 6 games for Tony Cottee, who pulled off Cousins superbly well. And the cross was spot on from Michael Hughes. Brown. Got space inside of him. Here he is, brought down by Potts, edge of the penalty area. It's been a very effective combination down the left side for Wickham. It'll be Dave Carroll. Oh, McCluskey just got there. Regis couldn't turn it in. Ryan trying to put it back in the middle. Potts was there. Real alarm for West Ham. Crossley. Evans is there. There's an appeal for handball there against Alvin Martin as he went up with Terry Evans. And it was a pretty confident appeal from the supporters behind the goal. Moncur. He just buys himself space so skillfully. Really good run by John Moncur. Oh, good stop by Hyde. Oh, Moncur twisted and turned and fancy-footed his way into a goal-scoring position there. Lovely skill. Cottee. Morley. I don't think it was meant for Hughes, but it's found him. And in goes Brown! And through surely go West Ham United. Kenny Brown's first ever FA Cup doubles West Ham's money. They lead by 2 goals to 0 with just 12 minutes to go. Hughes, another delightful scoring cross and a great moment for Kenny Brown. I don't think the initial pass was actually meant for Hughes, but he certainly made the most of it. He's provided the ammunition, and Cottee and now Brown have provided the goals.
A place in the Spurs record books awaits Ian Walker. If he can prevent West Ham United from scoring today, he would achieve a 7th clean sheet surpassing the figure he holds with Ray Clements, who had 6 matches without conceding a goal in league football. It was at the start of 1987. But Tony Cottee will be hoping that it's true that things come in threes. He made his debut against Spurs and scored. He scored his 100th league goal, then playing for Everton against Spurs, and now stands at 99 in the league for West Ham, 7 in his second spell here. It's just one change in each side compared with last Saturday. Julian Dix is suspended, so Kenny Brown, a substitute, then starts the match. Martin Allen has been out for 10 weeks with rib and calf injuries, makes it back as far as the bench. Gica Popescu returns after a spell of flu. He replaces the injured Ronnie Rosenthal in a Spurs side unbeaten for 10 games. And that has made the Spurs fans very happy, and they're here today in greater numbers than any previous visitors with the full opening of the new North Stand at Upton Park. The smiling Brian Hill is the referee. Teams have changed round, and West Ham attack the end of the Bobby Moore stand. Here for handball, and given against Calderwood. Michael Hughes leaves it to John Moncur. Doesn't get it long enough, away by Barnby. Bit short from Steve Potts. Captain making sure that his goalkeeper is awake, clearly. Jurgen Klinsmann, it's his 400th league game, spread over 4 countries. Brown. And again. Well, he did that very well, did he, Ian Walker? Matty Holmes, who was the threat. It's too strong for Martin. Not for Breaker. Moncur. I think that was intended to go wide. Moncur again. Putting the strings at the start, the former Spurs player, John Moncur. Bishop. Good strike. Swung a little bit too. And Ian Walker got his body all behind it in the end, having to adjust his position a little bit. Moncur. Good shot. Good stop. Really sprightly start from John Moncur. Good pace, good control, clean shot, just a fingertip touch. Corner too close to Walker. He's certainly at full stretch to make the save which brought the corner. Really good pace, diagonal run, clean shot. I think it was curling away a little bit, but a really good save even so. Oh. Cottee in the middle, boys here, and scores! Well, hugely deserved on the balance of play. Dutchman's 4th of the season. And Ray Clements will keep his league record and in League and Cup share with Walker. Strong header, no chance for the goalkeeper. West Ham lead at 10:33. Cottee. Hughes. Breaker. Cottee. Nobody filling the gap behind him, a little touch. And Tottenham got away with it. Mistake was by Howells. Spurs, whose defence has been so good, having a few problems. said accidental. Had probably the best view in the ground of that. Gary Mabbutt was the Spurs player. Breaker. Cottee. Bishop. Would have been a season's contender. Well, Harry Redknapp entitled to be pleased with his side, but I wonder if he's a bit concerned that they haven't added to the one goal. The wall pass with a difference. Moncur. Hughes. Moncur again. Oh, he's unlucky. Well, there were a few options. He opted to shoot from a tight angle. 2 to pull it back to, both marked. 3, in fact, to pull it back to, and all marked. He went for the shot instead. Popescu hasn't really got into the game at all, Gica Popescu. Anderton. Oh, lovely. Lovely down by Holmes. Bishop, breaker outside. Foran Cottee down the middle. To wait for the cross, which is very well claimed. Very well held. Spurs corner. Kinsman pulls away slightly from the goal line, leaves Calderwood to go in front of McCluskey and Mabbutt. Anderson will curl it in a bit. Double cover on Calderwood. Blasted over the top by Barmby. Of the curl. In comes Barmby. I don't think McCluskey would have seen it. Brown. West Ham players are wanting McCluskey to go the other way first time, and probably should have done. And here's Klinsmann. Well, in fairness to the German, it bubbled a bit for him at the last minute, and he was desperately trying to hang on to his balance. There was nobody up as he got wide of the goalkeeper. For a man of his quality, I suppose that would be put down as a chance. Oh, West Ham's half by a distance. But they only have one goal, scored by the Dutchman Boer in the 11th minute. They could.
And the linesman had a very, very good view of it. Now, temperatures rising, and out comes the red card. There's the morning headline. Eric Cantona. Three times he walked last season, once more in a pre-season game, and now for the 5th time in his Manchester United career, Eric Cantona is sent off. Alan Wilkie is the referee. Oh, what's going on here? Cantona's getting involved with some supporters. Oh, this is outrageous. Norman Davies, the Manchester United kit man, trying to pull him away. It's all got wildly out of hand, and once more, Eric Cantona is the man at the centre of a dramatic controversy.
Far more important than the job I do, but yeah, there are certain stresses related to being a football man.
Passing game without seriously threatening the West Ham goal. Then a defensive lapse let in Julian Dix on the left. His pull back met by Tony Cottee. Leicester 0, West Ham 1. For Harry Redknapp, whose emotions are seldom concealed, a little easing of the pressure. But the minutes before half-time are a switchback. Simon Grayson and Nicky Mohan converge. Tony Cottee goes down. Penalty. The referee's angle is unobstructed, his decision instant. The kick taken by Julian Dix is equally emphatic. The half-time team talk is getting harder.
Run it, run it, run it, run it! That's a good boy. Philip Denny! Don't chase the thing!
But then a teasing free kick tempts Ludek McCloskey. The punch comes under pressure. Steve Thompson returns the ball to the far post and Mark Robins scores, his second goal in 3 games since his £1 million transfer from Norwich. Now it's Redknapp's half-time chat that acquires a different edge. In the second half, it's his team that make the better chances. Julian Dix's header, well saved by Kevin Poole. But it stays 2-1 to West Ham to the end. Better or worse, the day's work is done. What now for the managers for the rest of the weekend?
Tomorrow I shall study the fixtures and watch the game on the television and look at the league table 1,000 times and look who they've got to play next week and who someone... That's how I am. I can't switch off at all. So when you want to talk to me about stress, I'm really not... and how you cope with it, I find it very difficult.
You want to be on the golf course, didn't you?
Can't do it. If I play golf, after 2 holes, I'm wondering what's happening in the world. I just can't switch off at all. I've not watched a film for... They said, what's the last film you saw? I said, Dr. Zhivago. I've never been to pictures. I was
surprised when Tony Cottee put his foot down and went through a gap to score a magnificent opener. Everyone at Upton Park happy as Harry. Though it didn't necessarily show. It was nearly half-time before Everton's recent resilience found Paul Rideout getting a difficult line exactly right. That put the smile on the face of the other side. Second half, just on the hour, and Neville Southall seemingly in 2 minds about how to deal with Don Hutchison's cross. Cottee wasn't, and West Ham led again. Led until Anders Limpar came on, and 11 minutes from time scored his first goal for Everton. Points shared, Everton 17th, West Ham 20th, anxious times still ahead for both.
Chelsea goalkeeper Dimitri Karin flapped at John Moncur's corner. Don Hutchinson crashed it in via the crossbar. The Hammers ahead after 11 minutes, but they failed to kill the game off. Chelsea arrived without a league win in 10 matches, didn't look like ending the run, until a Craig Burley equaliser changed everything round. Suddenly, with 15 minutes to go, West Ham fans were open-mouthed and they weren't blowing bubbles thanks to a Mark Stein volley. There was still time for a dramatic finale. Martin Allen hit the crossbar. It wasn't the only West Ham chance that was missed. Chelsea lost their goalkeeper Dimitri Karin with a shoulder injury. He's doubtful for Tuesday's UEFA Cup game in Bruges. And with 2 minutes left, West Ham were convinced they had an equaliser. Trevor Morley challenged substitute goalkeeper Kevin Hitchcock. Tony Cottee scored. Referee Gerald Ashby was happy enough. He gave the goal, only for lobbying from an all-party committee of Chelsea players to convince him he should consult a linesman. The Chelsea view and the linesman was that in leading with his arm, Morley had fouled. After a touchline chat, the goal was disallowed. We won it on spirit, said Chelsea manager Glenn Hoddle, and he's looking for
that cut-off mark for the first time since the turn of the year. Norwich City, seeking their first league win of the year, took the lead midway through the first half. Darren Eadie beating Ludo McCloskey on his near post. Norwich have been finding goals difficult to come by of late. That was the last goal that referee Alan Wilkie presided over. He limped off with hamstring trouble. Senior linesman Martin Sims took over. What happened next? This. Just 3 minutes later, Norwich number 14, Spencer Pryor, had already been yellow carded. So when he cut across Tony Cottee and saw the new ref reaching for his pocket, well, he set off in the direction of the dressing room. But hold on there. One close-cropped haircut looks very much like another, and the new man had decided that number 19, Andy Johnson, was the guilty party. Pryor stayed on. FA observer, ex-ref Ray Lewis later confirmed it was a case of mistaken identity. But no doubting the identity of the number 14, who then laid on the second Norwich goal early in the second half. Spencer Pryor teeing up Robert Ullathorne. The 10 men, the wrong 10 men as it happened, 2-0 up. And that was the way it stayed till the last 10 minutes. Enter Tony Cottee, latching on to Don Hutchison's pass to halve the deficit. And then with just 2 minutes remaining, rescuing a point with his nose for where the clearest chance will fall in a chaotic penalty area. Definitely onside despite the appeals. West Ham definitely in the danger zone still.
We need to win 5 now and at the last 10. But, you know, who knows? Who knows where and when the wins might come. It's getting harder, obviously, as you run out of games, but we've still got 5 games at home to come, so...
Defeat by Nottingham Forest keeps them bottom and seemingly destined for the drop. Ipswich didn't play today. West Ham's draw against Norwich moves them up 1 place.
Well, in its own right, but with Bruce Grobbelaar's name again splashed across every front page, all eyes were on Hampshire on Wednesday. Grobbelaar's release came too late to deny Dave Beasant his first game since October. He didn't let Southampton down. Matthew Rush, the man denied. But West Ham looked the side most likely in the first half, and just before the break, Don Hutchison was left alone to guide home Moncur's corner. West Ham's needs slightly more pressing than Southampton's at the moment. But an equaliser arrived soon after the restart. Everybody lost track of the ball for a moment. Neil Shipperley was first to find it. 9 draws from their last 10 league games. Southampton are getting them in singles. Dave Beasant knows that Bruce Grobbelaar's character is such that he'll probably come back stronger than ever from the latest drama, so the big keeper was relieved to survive his one hairy moment intact. Saints have had enough adventures.
For the match on a player who wasn't playing. How Aston Villa could have done with John Fashanu, who's injured at the moment. Villa now 5 games without a win. For those of you watching in black and white, Villa are in claret, so too are West Ham. West Ham, who went in front after 11 minutes with a cracking strike from John Moncur. West Ham, incidentally, don't play again now for another 3 weeks. It was a good afternoon for John Moncur. He set up West Ham second, tapped in by Don Hutchison. Slide rule and calculator time at the bottom. Harry Redknapp believes that 48 points should be enough for safety.
We have 5 very difficult games coming up. 4 away, only 1 at home. We won at Ivory, 1 today, so drew at Southampton. We're playing very well.
It's for Southampton.
League Cup semi-final saga against Stoke in 1972. But Greavesy had joined the Hammers in spring at 1970 and was instantly on the mark when he returned to White Hart Lane the following August.
Now Bobby Moore, best to flick it on, and Peters. Bobby Moore to pump it back again, Hurst looking to get underneath it, and does so. Greaves! Oh, Greaves! He's done it! Jimmy Greaves! The goal he wanted!
Greavesy stayed at Upton Park till the end of that season, but a few months after he left, the Hammers were involved in an amazing League Cup semi-final drama with Stoke. West Ham led 2-1 going into the second leg.
Eastham to Dobie. The threat of Stoke City growing larger minute by minute, and there's a good-looking cross, and it's gone to Ritchie with a chance, and he scored! John Ritchie! And they're level now on aggregate. Hurst all tucked that off nicely for Brooking. Back again. But Banks will get there. Oh, and Banks has lost it. And Banks going after it. And what has he given? He's given a penalty. He's given a penalty against Gordon Banks. And I can tell you that there are 2 players in the West Ham side not daring to look. One of them is Tommy Taylor. One is John McDowell. It's now Hurst. He will not look. And now it's Hurst against Banks.
and Banks has saved it miraculously, and the crowd are stunned and Stoke are delighted.
The first replay at Hillsborough ended goalless, but no shortage of drama in the mud at Old Trafford.
Conroy for Stoke. And that was Conroy coming in on Ferguson. I think Ferguson has taken a kick on the head. That goal won't be allowed.
Ferguson couldn't continue, and the surprise replacement in goal was Hammers skipper Bobby Moore.
Harry Redknapp takes the throw, back to McDowell. And there's the ball given away to Ritchie. And that's a penalty. McDowell absolutely lost his head. Bernard against Bobby Moore. It must be 100 to 1 against. And he saved it! And there's the rebound. And the linesman was standing with his flag up. And I think it's going to be taken again. Or will he allow it to stand? Now, what is the linesman going to say? Possibly that Moore moved before the ball was kicked. It's a goal! Bonds. He's still going, and he's found space, and it's deflected in! Hurst. Bonds. Bonds wins it. Best is waiting in the middle. And it's there by Brooking. Ritchie, who really has played extremely well the way he's taken and turned this ball tonight. Conroy for Easton. And now Dobing. He's found the net. Bernard. Been off through the middle. And overlapping here on the right is Marsh. Come out to Conroy!
Well, 3-2, Jim. Terry Conroy with the goal there. They went on to win the cup against Chelsea. George Easton scored the winner.
George got the winner, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I mean, they were a useful side, Stoke, in those days. But the Happy Hammers, Jim, were, you know, some great names, weren't they?
Oh, yes. It was a happy club, actually, then. They called it the Academy of Football, which was total rubbish because it was total mayhem, in actual fact. I mean, when I went there from Tottenham were like the SAS compared with West Ham in their training. I mean, everyone used to turn up when they fancied it. The first thing you used to do is have a cup of tea and a fag behind it. Hello, that's how it went on. But the players were great. It was a lovely club. I mean, it really was great stuff.
Well, Bobby Moore was skipper of it all, and it didn't score many goals, Moore, but we've got one here, Jim, a clip coming up.
Bob was skipper, and he did what he liked, Bob. I mean, he literally did. He used to stroll in, and you can see this is an unusual shot of Bob. He's in he's over the halfway line, and what a good goal!
That's a rasper, wasn't it?
It was a rasper. Nice to see Bob do it. He's almost embarrassed by that.
Isn't he? He's
he's sort of saying.
Well, he never scored many. He didn't know what to do walking back there, did he?
He didn't. But with people like Bonzo there and Trevor, of course, Trevor Brooking, and Harry Redknapp.
Well, Harry was one of the great characters.
What a character, Harry. I mean, he was a lad, Harry. That's a good moment for him as well. I bet he remembers that one.
Harry would remember that one.
Yeah, but they were. It was a lovely club, and everybody enjoyed playing there. It was
Forest, who are on a roll of 5 successive wins. It's Tony Gubba in the commentary box.
They're currently the hottest goal-scoring duo in the Premiership, Brian Roy and Stan Collymore, with 12 goals between them in Nottingham Forest's run of 5 consecutive victories that are surging them towards qualification for a place in Europe next season. In all departments, Forest are oozing confidence, and the team today unchanged from the one that demolished Sheffield Wednesday 7-1 last Saturday for the biggest away win in the 3 years of the Premiership. You have to fear for the visitors, West Ham today, who are locked in a desperate battle to avoid relegation and are without 4 suspended players. There's no Tim Breaker, Matthew Rush, John Moncur or Don Hutchison. And in a 4-4-2 lineup, Kenny Brown comes in at right back, Martin Allen is in midfield, and the Dutch striker Jeroen Boer is alongside Tony Cottee up front. West Ham will hope it's not an omen, but referee Graham Poll was in charge when Manchester United put 9 past Ipswich recently. And Nottingham Forest, very much the form team of the moment. It's been a terrific run of results for them, in which they've scored 19 goals. And that coming about after some stinging criticism from manager Frank Clark. Here's David Phillips, who operates in midfield. Pearce, the captain, into Collymore. This is Wone. That was picked off by Martin Allen, and West Ham beginning with just Jeroen Boer as a front man. Cottee was well adrift of him. Chettle up for Collymore. West Ham will derive some consolation from the fact that their best recent results have been achieved away from Upton Park. But they haven't played for 3 weeks since beating Aston Villa away. And maybe questions about whether they've been able to retain that edge of match fitness during 3 weeks of comparative inactivity. That's Michael Hughes, currently on loan from Strasbourg till the end of the season. Roy to Collymore, who looks very laid back in his first couple of touches. And Wone turning to find a bit of room. Collymore took it off Bishop. He's got Stone wide if he chooses to use him. Oh! Well, he's begun the game at a canter, really, Collymore. He's had 2 little touches in which he's looked very nonchalant. And then when he had Stone out wide as an alternative, he just hit that. What a thumper. And that would have gone in like a shell, but for McCluskey just reaching upwards to tip it over. Brian Roy to swing in the corner, and already West Ham under pressure. West Ham have been relegated or promoted in 4 of the last 6 seasons. That's awkward. McCluskey used his head. Littlewood used Mark Crossley. Chettle has kept it in play. Cushioned header this time from Allen. Hughes to Bishop, who lets it run to Matty Holmes. Here's Julian Dix. It's a defender's ball. And Phillips, Little. And he got away with it. But West Ham just beginning to exert a little bit of pressure here. And that challenge by Cooper has left Matthew Holmes on the floor. He gets gingerly to his feet. Hughes dispossessed, but here's Cottee. Not a bad spell this for West Ham. Kenny Brown out wide. Now, can they deliver a decent ball? Hughes, Bishop, Brown to try again. And that was blocked by Stuart Pearce, and it cannons to Collymore. Lovely little back heel. He has got a good touch for a big man, and when he's oozing confidence as he is today, he looks a threat. Strong run, great ball to Stone, super attack. Blocked by Potts. But what a marvellous attack by Forest. And no small part played in it by Stan Collymore. Mahina, Stone, Phillips, Pearce with a lot of space. Look how much room there is for Pearce. There's nobody getting in front of him at all. Collymore. Forrest pick it up and start all over again. Boheenan's touch. Here's Brian Roy. And Mark Reaper didn't stand on show. Collymore. Well, he does like to go for goal. Just wonder if the Nottingham Forest manager, Frank Clark, may wish to see a little bit more urgency about the way his side are playing. Difficult not to be in super confident mood after you've scored 7 away from home the previous Saturday and are on a run of 5 consecutive victories. But Forest really haven't set about West Ham in a way that suggests they're really hungry to knock in a few goals. Collymore's shown an inclination. Whoa. Boheenan knocks it up. Stone arrives. Great save, Niclasco. And maybe that was the one that would have opened things up. With just under half an hour played, the little flick on by Lars Boheenan. Stone onto it. And what a super stop by the former Czech international goalkeeper. One-handed down to his right. Michael Hughes. Kenny Brown, the right back. One for Boer to win. Cottee! That was a good chance. Cottee knows it. Close to his 15th goal of the season, and that would have been a shock to Nottingham Forest. The ball won in the air. Cottee onto it in a flash. And he got right underneath it. Redknapp gets agitated. When West Ham don't have the ball, they just leave Jerome Boer up front and they pull everybody back behind the ball and sit in to make it as difficult as possible for Forest, and they've succeeded pretty well with only 5 minutes left in this first half. Here's Wone. Stuart Pearce comes up quickly. Collymore's header, it never threatened the goal, and he hasn't had too many chances, Stan Collymore. What he has had has been from long range. They've handled him pretty well, and West Ham overall have handled the game pretty well when they might have feared being on the end of a drubbing, although that shot from long range wasn't really necessary. There were players in support of Michael Hughes. Collymore's flick on. Stone picks it up. He's just got Potts ahead of him. Oh, it was a good run by Steve Stone. Began as a Forest apprentice and a player who broke his leg 3 times when he was a youth and reserve team player, but he's got a real appetite for the match, and as a manager he's the sort of player you always know he's going to give 110%. Only Leicester and Ipswich are below West Ham in the Premier Division. That's how desperate their plight is. Dix into Cottee, who had the one sniff of a chance for West Ham. Matthew Holmes. Obstruction by Cooper. Free kick as we move into added on time. Cottee waiting just on the edge of the penalty area. Dix to knock it in. Boer to win it in the air. Collymore. There was nobody there, only Julian Dix. Now Bishop. The ball just picking a little bit of pace up off the surface, which was heavily watered before the match. Maybe Forest anticipating an afternoon when they could ping the ball around with confidence and add to the goals that they've scored in recent matches, but it hasn't quite worked out that way in the first 45 minutes. And Forest manager Frank Clark, who had some severe criticism of his players when they went 6 games recently without a win, may be just asking at half-time for them to pick up the pace in the second half. They haven't succeeded in beating Miklosko, and they haven't succeeded yet in scoring against West Ham. Half-time at the City Ground, it's Forest 0, West Ham 0. Brian Roy said on the eve of this match that if he'd been calmer in front of goal, he might have scored more than the 13 that he has so far this season. But the evidence of the first 45 minutes was that Nottingham Forest generally needed a bit more urgency. West Ham will feel at this stage they're halfway to a decent result. Certainly a game they can't afford to lose, and any points collected here would be welcome indeed to add to the 37 that they have so far. Cottee, who had their one real decent chance, and he was close to adding to the 231 career goals that he's scored so far. There's no doubt that a goal for either side would dramatically change the shape of this match. West Ham, who lost here last season in a League Cup tie by 2-1, and Frank Clark now choosing to watch the second half from the dugout. Took the team to promotion, back to the Premier Division in his first season as a manager, and they've never been out of the top 5 since he took over. Roy coming deep. Gets away from Dix, then gives it to Bishop. Now Bishop. Cottee just pushed it out wide to Matthew Holmes to keep the attack going. Inside Phillips. Oh, he's stumbling over it. Well, he'd lost his balance, there was no foul. The West Ham crowd behind that goal trying to suggest the possibility of a penalty, but he'd lost his balance earlier and always looked to be on his way to the floor. Here's Collymore. He got inside Phillips all right, then got the better of Little. That's where he lost his balance. He always looked to be going down, although the legs were tangled. Reaper won it, and now Michael Hughes. He's got Cottee out wide. Cottee makes a run into the middle. Great run by Cottee. Super challenge too by Colin Cooper. What a good break by the little West Ham striker, and wasn't he found well? Michael Hughes spotted that diagonal run as soon as Cottee started to make it, and it needed a saving tackle. Collymore's little touch. Here's Roy. Collymore. Oh, got a lot of power behind it. He went to place it just wide of Miklosko's left side and inside the near post. But it was always curling into the goalkeeper's chest. Good flick on. Cottee down to Hughes. And free kick against Cooper. Used his body to make it very difficult for Hughes. And West Ham with a free kick now in one of those telling positions. Dix has placed the ball and backing off in a manner which suggests he may be the player to take it. The left foot of Julian Dix. Well struck! Fabulous goal! And West Ham have opened the scoring, and it's always been a possibility. Nottingham Forest might have anticipated an afternoon stroll in the sunshine, But West Ham have rolled up their sleeves, and you won't see a free kick struck much better than that. But look at the gap that he had to go through. It didn't give Crossley any chance. Julian Dicks with his 4th goal of the season. And now, will it be sufficient for West Ham to record what would have looked an improbable victory before this game started against high-flying Nottingham Forest, 4th in the Premier Division, West Ham in 20th place. But 3 points from this match will go a long way to easing West Ham's relegation headache. Could well be enough to lift them out of the bottom 4, depending on what happens with other teams in the next few matches. But that's a cracker. 65 minutes gone, and West Ham ahead by 1-0. And Collymore back to Lee, scuffed his shot. And Jason Lee, who Southend signed as a replacement for Collymore when he left them to join Nottingham Forest, and then subsequently followed him. Crowd unhappy that McCloskey wasn't getting rid of the ball quickly enough. Here's Matty Holmes, he's just got Bohr up with him. Still Holmes, right foot! Crossley's been a spectator for long spells. But Matty Holmes with the persistence to make the opening and force the Forest keeper to save. Jerome Bohr. Martin Allen. Hughes. Now he knocked it into Bohr just as the striker backed away from him. Phillips. And Brian Roy. This is Collymore. Bishop picked it off. Hughes. It's West Ham's turn to play arrogantly. And Martin Allen sensing that that ball wouldn't go out, so he's run boldly after it. Bishop's header. Here's Bohr. Here's Holmes. Well, he needs to hit them harder than that from that sort of distance to beat Crossley. That's awkward. Lee just running it down. That might go in. Off the line by the defender. Reaper kept it out, but I think the whistle may have gone anyway. Jason Lee just running it down, and, well, there was a hand went up just on the edge of the penalty area. It's not easy to see from that exactly whose it was. Anyway, it is a corner. Pearce and Chettle got in each other's way. Roy to knock it in again. That's awkward. Good header. Collymore. Relief as much as anything on the faces of Nottingham Forest supporters. You have to feel a little bit sorry for West Ham, who defended well, but they didn't get the run of the ball then. It was a good header by Cooper, but it rebounded very favourably for Stan Collymore to bury his 22nd goal of the season. Well, West Ham to be denied anything. A moment or two ago they were thinking seriously of 3 points. At the moment it'll just be the one. But they've got to keep Nottingham Forest out for another 10 minutes or so. And that goal might just be what the home side needed to lift them. Here's Brian Roy. Jason Lee gives him width. They've got them stretched again, although he needed 2 touches, Jason Lee, and it got away from him when Collymore was waiting. There's the header from Cooper. It was actually Jason Lee that it hit, and it couldn't have run more favourably for Forest and for Collymore. Jason Lee to Collymore, to Brian Roy. And look how quickly West Ham got on him, but he's wriggled himself free right across the 6-yard box. Just needed a foot on it. He turned and he twisted and he got through the two defenders. And then there were two more. And Bishop will be grateful he didn't get any connection because it could have gone anywhere. Allen. Michael Hughes will use Kenny Brown. Hughes again. That's in the air for De Boer. Cottee. Never managed to get goal side of Little. Now Paul McGregor, the 20-year-old Liverpool-born forward, on as a second-half substitute. And Jason Lee, the other substitute, trying to get underneath it. McCloskey does get rid of it quickly, because Michael Hughes was in space. Referee has started to check the watch. Roy knocks it up. That's the keeper's. It just hasn't been an afternoon in which Nottingham Forest have really fired on all cylinders, but what a good performance by West Ham. Inactive for 3 weeks and with the 4 first-team players suspended, and Harry Redknapp's men have come out here and they've battled out an excellent draw, and it might have been more. The super free kick from Julian Dix gave them brief thoughts of a victory on all 3 points before Collymore slotted in his 22nd of the season to make it 1-1. But after a run of 5 successive victories by Nottingham Forest, West Ham have done really well, but they've only got 1 point to add to the 37 that they had at kick-off. Just going down to applaud their travelling support, who've never let up in their vocal appreciation of what West Ham have tried to do. There's a long road to go before they avoid the drop, but that sort of performance will give them real hope. Nottingham Forest won, West Ham won.
The goalkeepers wanting in.
Harry Redknapp after his side's 3-0 victory over Wimbledon. West Ham now unbeaten in 5 matches. They went into the interval with a 1-goal advantage. It came just before half-time. Kenny Cunningham clumsily cannoned into Matthew Holmes. It was all down to Julian Dix, who scored, but Neil Sullivan was a whisker away from upsetting the majority of the 21,000 crowd. West Ham then wrapped it up with 2 goals in 2 minutes. First, Michael Hughes, on loan from Strasbourg, went for a run down the right, and Jerome Boa bravely headed West Ham's second. It was the same touchline route that led to West Ham's third, Hughes freeing the overlapping Tim Breaker, and his sleight of foot set up the opening for Tony Cottee. West Ham were now cruising. They still have to play the likes of Blackburn, Queen's Park Rangers, Liverpool and Manchester United, but there's now a confident mood in the camp. So tight is the
Premiership has suffered a setback after they were beaten by West Ham. The result means Blackburn remain 8 points clear at the top, but second-place Manchester United have 2 games in hand. West Ham's 2-0 victory boosts their chances of avoiding relegation.
With West Ham needing a win as much as Blackburn, this always promised to be a fierce test of the leaders' championship pretensions. Early on it seemed they might prevail, and their captain Tim Sherwood produced Blackburn's best chance of a frenzied first half. But after half-time it was West Ham, still haunted by the prospect of relegation, who took the initiative. Though Tim Flowers acrobatically saved this cross shot from Tim Breaker, West Ham weren't to be denied for long, as the corner which followed was headed in by their Danish defender Mark Reaper. Blackburn, with the championship so close, were far from their best, but they did have a goal disallowed for a foul when Alan Shearer thought he'd equalised. It didn't matter though, as West Ham took a giant step towards safety when Don Hutchison scored their second goal with 7 minutes left. The championship race is far from over. Duncan Jones, BBC News.
The means they're unbeaten now in 8. And they had to play the last half an hour without Martin Allen, who was sent off in a match that produced more than its share of bad-tempered scuffling in the closing stages. With a little luck, West Ham might have sneaked victory, but Holmes' inch-perfect cross from Bora saw the Dutch striker's header hit the bar. In the last few minutes, though, West Ham rode their luck. There were some worried faces around Upton Park when Barker's header powered in, but West Ham survived the night, and in their present form, they should survive in the Premiership.
Now pay attention.
Almost safe. Norwich will be relegated today if they lose at Leeds, and Aston Villa beat Liverpool, and Everton at least draw at home to Southampton.
An interesting night, as we say, for the Redknapp family and for John Motson.
It's the scenario that 21-year-old Jamie Redknapp could have done without, playing in a Liverpool side whose performance could help dictate whether his father Harry is a Premiership manager with West Ham next season. Harry usually travels miles to watch Jamie play. Tonight he can't even afford mixed feelings. Neither can number 3 Julian Dix or forward Don Hutchison, both former Liverpool players, as they seek the win that would ensure Hammer's safety. Michael Hughes is preferred to Martin Allen on the right, and 34-year-old Trevor Morley is recalled in place of the injured Uram Burra. Well, Liverpool's injury list now includes Jones, Ruddock, Björneby, Wright, Rush and Molby. But Phil Babb is fit to return in defence, and the almost forgotten figure of Nigel Clough starts a game for the first time this year. There's also a place for Dominic Matteo, preferred to Mark Walters. And Robbie Fowler needs just 1 goal to complete 50 for Liverpool in his first 2 seasons of senior football. Well, the loudspeaker at Upton Park was still playing I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles right up to kick-off, whipping up the fervour for a night that means, or could mean, an awful lot to West Ham. Liverpool are playing from left to right in their change strip. And West Ham knowing that a win would see them clear. A draw might keep them on edge. And got the first free kick. Morley in the centre. Hughes and Moncur round the ball. Moncur leaves it. Oh, and a disability early on there as 3 players got in on the back post for West Ham. Breaker, and the flick on doesn't quite find Hutchison. Here's Potts. Holmes playing on the left, and he's got 2 waiting in the centre for the cross, and it's cleared for a corner by Steve Harkness. And already Mark Reaper is coming up from the back to add his height in the penalty area. It's going to be Hughes to take it with his left foot. And it's Robbie Fowler who dropped right back to defend on this side. Here's Harkness. And that's Potts. Morley. It was nicely knocked on towards Hughes. And he got that down well. Good control by the Irishman. And here comes Bishop. On the break for Liverpool, it's McManaman. Picking up the clearance from the goalkeeper. Oh, a bit short for Clough, but it's Redknapp now. Fowler. Now Barnes. And that's a foul. The tackle from behind. Mark Reaper claiming he took the ball, but he doubtless took the man as well, who was Nigel Clough. Comes back to Barnes, though. Breaker who clears for the corner. Phil Babb is up at the back. Number 6. There goes Scales, marked by Reaper. This is Clough. Scales stays forward. So too does Babb on this side. Here's McManaman. This is an anxious night for the West Ham manager. Made more poignant, I suppose, by the presence of his son in the opposition. Now then, Holmes. Two to his right, comes off John Barnes to Moncur. Now Bishop. This is Blaker. Round the back there. Michael Hawes is on loan still to West Ham from Strasbourg, the French club. He's an ex-Manchester City player who took that route, an Irish international to boot, 23 caps. That's a mistake by Scales. It's let Moncur in, and to his left is Matt Holmes. Chance here for West Ham. Oh, he took it brilliantly! Matthew Holmes. Well, it wasn't the best of angles from which to beat David James, but it was a clinical finish. And the Hammers are in front. John Moncur took advantage of a slip by John Scales, laid it left, and Holmes, coming in from the angle, did awfully well to guide that underneath the left arm of the goalkeeper with power. And with 29 minutes gone, West Ham have taken the lead. It could be a vital goal for them. Bishop to Morley. Two West Ham players wanting the same ball there, and Liverpool have broken that up. It's Fowler to Clough. Outside him is McManaman. Clough again. Redknapp. There's a shooting chance on here. And I would think his father was only too pleased to see that go wide on this occasion. Jamie Redknapp was given almost the freedom of Upton Park to line up that one. That's a good ball by Potts, looking for Morley. He's got Holmes just behind him, a bit close, but supporters of West Ham felt that Matt Holmes deserved a free kick there. It didn't come. So the team that need the win lead at half-time. West Ham in front thanks to Matt Holmes' first goal of the season. It was splendidly taken, and if it was to stay like this, then the Hammers would ensure their Premiership survival. It's perhaps worth making the point at the beginning of the second half that West Ham have not let in a goal in their last 3 home games. And Liverpool haven't scored one in their last 2 away. So those seem to be good omens on the surface for the Hammers fans. Nigel Clough. Oh, danger here. It's Thomas overlapping. McManaman. Fowler, there was danger. And that was Liverpool's best effort so far. And the heads are being held because Robbie Fowler was near there to his 50th goal and perhaps should have had it. The setup is on the right. Thomas and McManaman. And West Ham giving Fowler unforgivable space, really, in the penalty area, which on this occasion he fails to take advantage of. Here's Thomas. Just short there as far as pass. This is John Moncur. Oh, and Hughes really waited a bit too long to go for that, and in the end he goes down, and that's a yellow card. Phil Babb. Oh, well played, Hutchison! Oh, it's the ex-Liverpool man who may have ensured against Liverpool West Ham's survival in the Premiership. It's the second goal that means so much in a game like this, or should do. And really, the West Ham striking partnership set this up. Potts into Morley. He's got Harkness with him, but he lays it back for Hutchison to hit it right foot across a standing goalkeeper. And it's 2-0 to West Ham. Just under an hour gone. David James was rather looking back at it as it went in from Don Hutchison. But West Ham are full of themselves now. And frankly, if they don't win this match, they'll only have themselves to blame. And a lusty version of I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles right on cue. Well, now then, that has sent a wave of relief around Upton Park. And now Moncur has gone down after a challenge by Barnes, but there's chances here again. Hutchison again! Yes! Oh, surely that seals it. Harry Redknapp, look at that. The gesture of a manager who knows he's mighty close now to ensuring Premiership football here next season. And Don Hutchison has scored 2 in little more than a minute. The concern in the centre circle is for John Moncur, who was injured while that build-up was going on. Tim Breaker here plays the ball forward. You can see Moncur lying on the ground in the background, but here's Hutchison, and he only has to prod that past James. The bounce just up nicely for him. So, Liverpool make a substitution meantime. Dominic Matteo has gone off, and the £2 million man Mark Kennedy has come on, number 19. Oh, it's play on Morley! Well, whether Scales handled it or not, the referee was quite right to play an advantage, because Trevor Morley, from the defender's error, was clean through and should have made it 4. That's careless. This is Bishop. Hughes to Moncur. Good running by Tim Breaker from this side. It was really perhaps the ball, but it wouldn't be for me to tell John Moncur where to put it, because his passing is normally exemplary. This is McManaman. Barnes, chance perhaps for Kennedy to show what he can do. And he's one for the future, there's no doubt about that. Appropriately, he's wearing number 19, and in 5 days' time, next Monday, he'll be 19. And Clough maybe finding a route through here for Kennedy. Good early ball by the youngster. Oh, there was people flying through the air there as though it was the first game of the season. That was Kennedy. And the pat on the back really is for Don Hutchison, who, having scored the 2 vital goals, suddenly found himself defending and literally threw himself across the penalty area. You watch the cross go in and then look for the flying figure. I think he was helped on his way a bit by a colleague there. Steve Potts. when you think of all the tension that preceded this match, in terms of them being threatened with relegation. The atmosphere here now is quite benign. John Barnes gets Steve McManaman through. It might not be for a second. The cross go out to Drain, which just goes to show that in every sense it is West Ham's night. And he took over from Billy Bonds very near the start of the season, Harry Redknapp, right at the start, and it was always going to be a bit of an uphill struggle this year for the Hammers, but he seems to have won the battle, or they seem to have won the battle for him. And indeed, the man who is moving is John Moncur. He's found Breaker. Oh, and here's Hughes. Scales just managing to save it. Referee Eden gets a touch, which might just remind him that we're in stoppage time. Here's McManaman. Forward run by Jamie Redknapp. Oh, and a chance here for Nigel Clough, but he's put it over. Well, he's had a season that he really would prefer to forget. Not all of his doing, I might add, Nigel Clough. There must surely be a place for him in a Premiership team somewhere, even though he didn't take that opportunity in the dying seconds here. Premiership football will be played at Upton Park next season. Harry Redknapp's team have survived. All the anxiety will drain away now as the manager applauds the fans and his team. Comfortable winners here, thanks to 2 goals in little more than a minute in the second half by a former Liverpool player, Don Hutchison, which really ended this match as a contest and gave Harry Redknapp the result he wanted. And I wouldn't imagine that Jamie Redknapp, when it all dies down, will be too sorry about it either. And there's the gesture between father and son. Well, congratulations, Harry. You've ensured Premiership football here next season.
Yeah, it was a great performance, John, and the lads have responded superbly. I mean, we've only had 1 defeat in 10 games. We've been on a smashing run, and 6-7 weeks ago, I think people thought we were dead and buried, but they've showed great character and well deserved to stay up this year and look to win the game if possible.
You'll see it all on Match of the Day on Sunday. Remember, it's Sunday night, not Saturday as usual. The denouement, how the championship will turn out. Tension and much concern. But who would end up with the smiles? Just in case you hadn't heard, Blackburn would definitely win the championship.
Blackburn in their blue and white halves. And straight away, Phil Babb being asked to defend. Here comes Shearer. It was Sutton tangling with Thomas. But Shearer set the play up. Looks to me as though Blackburn have started with Graham Lasso more in the left-back position and Jeff Kenner pushing into midfield. That may switch again. And it looks to me as though there's a man-marking job going on down there. Jeff Kenner appears to be following Jamie Redknapp. This is Ripley. And that's Ripley's cross. Shearer! Shearer requires 1 goal to equal Andy Cole's Premiership record of 34. He nearly got it here. It was a header that was dropping away. That was on by McManaman and away by Hendry for Blackburn. Shearer's underneath it. 2 defenders around him. And he's been penalised. So it's Liverpool now with McManaman. Michael Thomas, McManaman again, good play. comes back off Pearce. Clough. Thomas square to Barnes. Redknapp didn't make that. Sherwood. He got blocked in. McManaman. Fowler in the centre waiting. Barnes for the pullback. Well, Blackburn were caught initially in possession. Sherwood got himself into a tangle and Liverpool broke. McManaman had two choices. Barnes was the better ball and he played it, but he couldn't quite dig it across the goalkeeper. Clough's gone down the left wing. And there are a few nerves back there. That was Hendry. Kennedy to take it. That's Scales. That's Clough. Off the line by Sherwood. Tim Sherwood, the Blackburn captain, gets the ball off the line. It's Kennedy's floated corner. The header comes in first from John Scales, a hook shot by Nigel Clough. This is Pearce. But Shearer. Celebrations all over the place at that end. Ripley got put away by Shearer's initial pass. What a way to make a goal and then to score one. Look at this. The 34th of the season in the Premiership alone for Alan Shearer. He equals Andy Cole's record, but more important, he gives Blackburn the lead that they so dearly wanted today with a perfect finish.
But let's move now to Upton Park and West Ham against Manchester United. The surprise there was that Mark Hughes did not start for United, who, remember, had to win. This is what happened as we join the first half with Barry Davis.
Hutchison on the right of the box. Pallister there first. Now Hutchison. Good play, Bruce. Spectacular attempt by Tim Breaker. Alec Ferguson alongside his chairman, and he seems to be telling him news that neither want to hear. Blackburn are ahead at Anfield. Rawley. Holmes coming in from this side. Scored his first goal of the season in midweek. Oh, was so close to getting his second. Schmeichel beaten. The crossbar smacked with a vengeance. Very unlucky, Matt Holmes. Hit it well as it came down, and it certainly was past the big Dane. Kept his eye on the ball well too, with Butt coming in. Sharp. Manover was cold, but not to be. Moncur. Holmes. Collected by Rowland. Moncur. Holmes inside. Telling touch from Butt. Holmes allowed to turn on it. And it's in by Hughes. The delight on the faces of West Ham supporters. The contrast, the expression of Peter Schmeichel, but that's where the goal was given away. They gave Matt Holmes so much room, and Hughes coming up took it on the body, and Lane was nowhere near it. Ball came from behind Pallister. Very well directed. West Ham lead 1-0. And Manchester United, who all through the season have been doing it the hard way. Sometimes from accidental wounds, sometimes from self-inflicted wounds. They're going to do it the hard way to the bitter end. At least they're going to have to. Just a little pointing, no obvious agitation. Bishop. Taken intelligently, but just too long. Bishop looking for Hughes. Beautifully and was very unlucky. Ince had a chance to stay down. Moscow, it's Moncur who's hurt. It's well won by Butt. Good control. Let it run. Wide of McCluskey, but back off the foot of the post. Keane. So sad to see such faces. They turn to a smile in the end. Shouldn't come to football to snarl at people. Pallister. Half-time, and the United of West Ham deservedly in front. Woodwork struck at either end. A goal by Michael Hughes from the cross by Matt Holmes. Half-time, West Ham United 1, Manchester United 0.
1-0 to West Ham at half-time. The title seemed destined for Blackburn. We now move into the second half at Upton Park, with United still that goal down.
Clare, dropped rather deeper than he was. Ince. Great shirt tug certainly came from Moncur. You've got to hand it to Ince. Will he get up with a smile on his face? That would cap it if he could. Well, certainly no reaction. Sharp, Cole, Hughes up, a bit of shirt tugging. Good advantage played, and up comes Roy Keane. First touch took him a bit wide. Not away yet, McClare. There's a better balance about Manchester United. Beautiful layoff by Hutchison. Michael Hughes. Almost. Picked up by Morley. Holmes, bit of space by Hutchison. That's Schmeichels. But it looks a different Manchester United. Well directed, beautifully parried with the right hand. Right opening to the second half. So determined and playing well too. Hughes. Hughes. Off the head of Breaker. Hutchison. Just total attack. Played by Sharp. Good kick against Potts. Presumably for a push. They've been slightly fooled by the fact that Cole failed to collect it for the first time of asking. Bruce and Pallister, as ever, have come forward. McClare! Totally unmarked! And Manchester United's hopes rise yet again in this extraordinary season. Awful marking, and he took full advantage. Nobody went with him as he moved out of the pack. And he won the trick with some ease.
United now had their tails up. They were getting on top in the match. But as you'll recall, they had to rely on Liverpool to give them a helping hand. Back to Anfield, the second half of Liverpool against Blackburn, Blackburn leading by that Shearer goal.
Well, the thought occurs to me as that ball runs out that Liverpool are playing towards the end where Arsenal produced 2 goals out of almost nothing in 1989 to turn that one round. So you cannot allow yourself to start assuming that Blackburn have clinched it yet. This is Redknapp. Michael Thomas on the other side now will remember all about that. It runs on to Barnes. Liverpool captain puts them level. And a well-taken goal it is too. Liverpool moved the ball all the way along the line. McManaman foot. It's a great finish by Barnes. Of that there is no doubt. Down where Flowers couldn't get it. If you trace that move way back, you would find that it happened when Liverpool took a quick free kick on this near side following an offence by Henning Berg, and Blackburn, I don't think, ever got their concentration back. It's 1-1.
And Manchester United could score again, they would be champions for the 3rd year running. Once again, it's Barry Davies at Upton Park.
Entertaining stuff with so much at stake. Bishop. Still. Whoa! Well, he wasn't too far away. Very cleanly hit. Hughes. Ince. Sharp. Cole. Still Cole. Still Cole. He played so well in the first period, but it's a different contest now. Hughes once more. Cole waits in the middle. Keane behind. 2 others up in the attack. Away went Bishop. Keane couldn't quite get there. Ince. Certainly smacked it. Half won by Keane. Overhead was from Ince. hit as it came down, but he was a bit closer. But there wasn't the room. Ball wouldn't come down quickly enough. Ince. Options either side for Paul Ince. Free kick against Reaper. Hutchison now fills the gap. Owen! Ooh, he nearly made it even so. Interesting that Breaker suddenly ran back to cover to McCluskey's right. There he goes, just in case. It was mightily close. We shall not be moved, said the Manchester United supporters, but they need another goal. Ince. Chased by Hughes and Rowland. Corner. It's the referee's verdict. Pallister on the near post. McClare behind him. Cole further over. Hughes just outside the 6-yard line. McCluskey started to come for it, away by Hutchison. Sharp gets the angle. Pallister. Hughes! Great stop! Fine save by McCluskey. He's at his best when parrying to reach what seems impossible. Two hands fully to it. Four in the 6-yard box. Three outside. Bruce didn't make contact. Hacked away by Breaker. Bruce goes to the referee and asks the referee to consult the linesman, and Mr. Wilkie simply shows a yellow card to Steve Bruce. Was there a hand? That's what they're appealing for. Immediately Steve Bruce appealed. But the referee would not consult the linesman, but the linesman indicated he didn't need to. It's still 1-1, he's telling his team. And they have a little over 5 minutes. It's 1-1 at Anfield. If Manchester United can get the goal in the last 5 minutes, the title would remain at Old Trafford. But can they get the goal? Neville. Get it up the other end, says Alec Ferguson. Comes down to Scholes. Another appeal for handball. Goal! Good stop! Goal kick. Now the referee says corner. Cole suddenly found himself with not the greatest angle, but with a real chance. And it must have come last off the defender. Peter Schmeichel has come up as well. Ince! It's on the roof, but the whistle had gone anyway. And we are now playing the time that Mr. Wilkie will allow for injuries, stoppages for bookings. Alec Ferguson making sure that, that the referee knows about it and he wants to make. Well, he doesn't, but West Ham want to make a substitution. Hughes comes off. And Webster comes on. Simon Webster. Half one. Cole off Potts. Scholes. They're queuing up to put it in, but can't find the way. Neville. Bruce. And somehow manages to deny the attack. It's a Manchester United ball. Neville to take. Pallister with the flick. McClare, it's loose. Blocked by Breaker. Ince can't get hold of it. Owen. Amazing stuff. One again by Breaker.
goals. Up comes Schmeichel. Oh dear, not what was wanted.
Time running out for Manchester United. McCloskey playing 12th man for Blackburn Rovers. But there would be another twist back at Anfield. Remember, the score there was Liverpool 1, Blackburn 1.
Batty. Sherwood. Oh, he was robbed by Jamie Redknapp. Look at this. Robbie Fowler on the chase. Pearce is coming across. He's got McManaman in support here. John Barnes in the penalty area again. McManaman. Fowler. Oh, is it? Is it? No, says David Ellery. David Batty's challenge on Robbie Fowler, who asks, and in asking, somebody's upset the referee. This is what happened in the penalty area. There's Fowler. David Ellery could not have been better placed. Shearer chasing Babb. It's a bit short. Shearer's in. Oh, and Sutton's there. And it's been cleared by John Scales. Unbelievable. Oh. Look at this. It's a bad mistake, actually, by Phil Babb. Shearer's in. James is beaten. Sutton's there. Didn't get hard enough contact on the ball. John Scales cleared. Corners at Blackburn. Pearce is up, Hendry's up, Henning Berg is up. There's Berg. They're still picking themselves off the floor here, injury. And Redknapp shoots! It's in! It's in! It's a goal by Jamie Redknapp! Liverpool lead 2-1. They just can't take it in, Blackburn. All round the ground, there's cheering anyway. They're embracing. What can you say about this? And the whistle's gone. Well, amazing scenes. Blackburn have lost here. They've lost here, but they are champions. That's what the crowd is saying. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in 25 years of commentating. Jamie Redknapp smashed the ball in the net, but suddenly the final score came in from West Ham, and Blackburn knew they'd done it anyway.
And we took it off them, so it shows how what a good side we are.
So how does it feel to be champions?
We are the best side. We've took a bit of stick in the last couple of weeks. I think the opposing manager tried his hand at trying to put us off our stride. He must have mentioned everything in the book, but we didn't do what they did 3 years ago. We kept on in there, and we've got this to show for it today.
And very fitting it should happen at Anfield from your point of view.
For Andy Cole, and at the end of the day, you just needed out to break and would have been champions. It was as close as that.
What was the thinking in starting without Mark Hughes?
We felt that we wanted to take that steam out of West Ham because they've got good little footballers in the middle of the park, and we felt the longer the game went would be all right. That was the thinking. Tactically it was all right, just we didn't expect to lose the goal we did. I think when you look at it, 88 points and handling all the things we've had to handle this year, Barry, those players, honestly, they deserve all the credit they can get.
As champions for the first time since 1914, and United runners-up just 1 point behind. Shot had gone in instead of hitting the post. United were the champions.
I mean, yeah, we're supposed to be neutral, but we were on the edge of our seats. It was gripping stuff. I mean, you know, you couldn't have scripted it better. It twisted and turned. At half-time, as we said, it did look all over. And then Manchester United got level, and I must say, I did think they were going to get the second goal. All credit to West Ham, who defended well. And, of course, Liverpool then edged ahead, but it was just a case of whether United, you know, were going to score that second goal.
And McCloskey played like a man possessed today.
Yeah, a Czech possessed, yeah. No, I mean, if there is any spare champagne at Blackburn, please, can he send it down to Ludek? Because, I mean, he had one of those days, everything stuck, and, you know, he's a very popular lad, great trainer, very genuine character, and no one will be more delighted, I should think, than the other players, because he is a lovely lad, and he was outstanding, and really did capture the spotlight, didn't he, with his display.
United, of course, came really into it in that second half, didn't they?
I must say I was staggered when Mark Hughes was on the bench to start with, and I think his introduction at half-time, it's easy to say after hindsight, but in the second half, you know, he did make a difference. There was a strange, wasn't there, a penalty decision sort of in the second half, but perhaps we better clear up. This one coming across. Tim Breaker does go up, he clips his fingers. Look at Alan Wilkie, the referee, though, he's right in position. I wouldn't have liked to see the championship decided by that. It wasn't given. And of course, this is really the man who captured, as we say, the headlines, and I'm sure in the papers tomorrow. He was positive, come out and took crosses like that, but it was the saves, wasn't it, really? This one is still when they're 1-0 down. Lee Sharp, good one, really, to get his hand to even and push it away from goal. Then Mark Hughes again. By now it's one apiece. He pushes that one away, and of course then late on you had the two Andy Cole chances. This one, if you watch Paul Scholes, look, little handball with the left arm, and I think this is the best chance. But Ludek McCloskey comes out, spreads himself, makes himself very big. Always difficult then for the striker to find a spot on a. He looked very sharp today. I thought on another day could have helped himself to a hat-trick, but it wasn't to be, was it? I don't think.
You say that Leeds. Newcastle can still join them in Europe, but only if Manchester United win the FA Cup and therefore qualify for the Cup Winners' Cup. And at the bottom, the last relegation place filled by Crystal Palace, who go down after just one season back in the Premiership. Norwich, Leicester and Ipswich had already been relegated, of course.